Today, I'm going to be sharing my own personal healing and reinventing journey through a compilation of 25 life-changing lessons that are mostly deeply rooted to me and that took me a lifetime of 50 plus years to realize, and some of them not so long ago. Growing up and coming from an immigrant family, we had fewer and very limited resources that are now available in abundance to the majority of the people and are quite overlooked as tools to help pave their way into a more fulfilling life. First, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Sule, the founder of Sukara and Sule Sparkles. I have been on YouTube for about 4 years now, and I'm trying to come back and be more proactive. And I talk about beauty, skincare, 50s lifestyle, and reinventing oneself. I hope you find some of these lessons enlightening and of benefit to your own life journey. Please do know that these are my very own personal life lessons that may or may not apply to you, and I'm sharing these from the heart in hopes to helpfully help someone. And if anything is relatable to you, I would love for you to please share which one in the comments, or like always, I welcome any comments. If there's anything that you feel touched your heart, I also welcome engagement in the comments. So let's go. One is to embrace all of your lessons from childhood. A lot of us grew up in dysfunctional family dynamics without even realizing it. We thought that life was normal until later in life. Being the oldest of 5, expectations were extremely high for me. I was expected to learn at a faster pace, study before play, and learn like my math under very tight deadlines, even before entering elementary school. The other portion that I had was helping out in the house with the rest of the children, because like I said, I am the oldest of 5, and also helping out with very significant household chores. One of the most significant household chores that I had that I didn't mind, but I didn't realize it was a lot of work, was ironing clothes for the entire family. It was a family of 7, and every time we washed and dried, line dry, I had to go get the clothes from the line and fold, and basically we just had to iron. So that was like an all-day Saturday thing, or I would start on Fridays and finish on Saturday. I actually really enjoyed that, and I learned to maneuver when I would get tired. Like I remember putting like a book on the floor to put one foot up and one foot down in order to alleviate any back pain that I was already experiencing as a young child, maybe 8, 10, 12, I don't recall the age. And of course, we always had the spray, so we would spray, and it was very therapeutic. However, the amount of clothes that were washed for a family of 7 was pretty significant. Cooking for the family was another very huge chore, and it was expected daily and especially on weekends. And this continuous cycle of pretty much being like a secondary mom and being expected the best grades and study, made me a perfectionist in life and an overachiever. And I never realized that until I was getting older, that I had these characteristics in my personality. So know that your childhood, with all its challenges and its joys, has shaped the person you've become today. The struggles, triumphs, experiences you went through childhood are responsible for your resilience, your sensitivities, your independence, and the ability to navigate the complexities of life. Your shortcomings, your personality traits, and values as an adult are mostly shaped by your childhood and the closest people around you and your traumas. Learning to recognize this helps you heal with more clarity. The reasons you may have experienced anxiety and depression and possibly attention deficit disorder later in life may very well have been linked to your childhood traumas. So revisiting your childhood and embracing those early lessons, you can better understand yourself and use those insights to heal and grow into adulthood. Most importantly, learn from them so that you can avoid passing them down to your children, hence starting the whole cycle or domino effect once again. The important thing here is to stop the lifelong blame and learn from all of our experiences and use them as toolkits later in life. When we become weak-minded, make a trip down memory lane and recall a story of strength and resilience and see how many times these experiences can help you shake you back to your core. Thanks to these dynamics, whether functional or dysfunctional, we are stronger than we give ourselves credit for. Lesson number 2, healing family bonds and forgiveness. Like I said, rather than blaming our parents for the rest of our lives, for why we are the way we are, as painful as this may be to some, we must learn how to forgive them for their imperfections and dysfunctions, as that is the key to healing, and most importantly, for your own personal growth. Accepting that their flaws are possibly linked to their own childhood traumas and understanding their struggles and honoring them for the love that they did give us, the little bit that they were able to give us, if not more. By forgiving, you create space for peace and deeper connections, allowing you to honor your parents later in their later years with compassion and respect. The shared history can help you navigate life's challenges together, strengthening family ties and creating a foundation for healing and growth. Now, this works both ways. You must also be open to this dialogue if you have adult children now who are following the same pattern you unknowingly created. If you catch this early enough, you can help your children grow and feeling more whole. If you are like me and you didn't catch this on time, there's always a now to mend unhealed wounds, and you just need to do it. Personally, didn't recognize this pattern until I became a mother and until my children were already grown, possibly elementary, middle school. So learning how to have that open dialogue with your children now is better than not having it at all. I, on the other hand, had this dialogue with my own parents later in life. And this is why I'm sharing this information with you, because if it can help you spare unnecessary traumas and pains and wounds by realizing that you need to do this now rather than 10 years down the road, you will learn to create this new space of love and healing and growth in record time. Point number 3, and that is so important, because this is something, again, that we don't learn until later in life, is self-love. Self-love is your first love. Embracing yourself, flaws and all, is the foundation for all meaningful relationships. This is something we learn too late in our lives. Your first true love should be yourself, as it teaches invaluable lessons about vulnerability, growth, and what truly matters in relationships. But what if you didn't feel this, as you didn't experience feelings of affection growing up like you needed to? Again, it is never too late to go on this self-love and healing journey. And there are many ways in which you can embark by seeking the right kind of help and doing some self-care practices that will help you learn to love yourself in different ways. The same holds true for your first love or marriage. It may or may not have turned out the way you hoped, but know that these experiences are part of your life story, showing you what to embrace and what to let go. Again, by learning to love yourself and setting healthy boundaries and understanding that it's never too late to rebuild, you unlock the power to form meaningful connections with others. Self-love isn't just the starting point. It is the key to everything else. As you slowly start healing, you will be able to reach out and honor and bless the people who loved you and express your true feelings with your whole heart. Number 4, learning from parenting and children. Parenting is a journey of growth and self-discovery. The challenges and joys of raising children teach you patience, or not so much, empathy, and the importance of leading by example. As your children grow, you also learn from them, whether it's seeing the world through their eyes or embracing their unique perspectives and realizing the impact of your actions on their development. It is a reminder that growth is a two-way street, and honoring your children's journey while learning from your own mistakes is key to fostering healing and deeper connections within the family. The same applies here. Learn from your own shortcomings and apologize for any sentiments that may have caused them a deep wound. This is time sensitive. Use points 1 to 3 to help you. The sooner you do this, the better off you'll be, and the more time you'll have to enjoy your children or adult children. Number 5, the jobs you hold are simply stepping stones, and you need to look at them in this manner so as to avoid having any form of cognitive dissonance. Having a coachable and learning attitude makes a huge difference in whatever job you hold, whether it's temporary or permanent. Looking at these jobs as part of your life, but not your entire life, and making this shift will make work more enjoyable. My first real job, I had huge responsibilities as a bookkeeper, and I was in my teens. I was literally 16 when I started this job. This was a job I held for 1.5 years, and I made the decision to quit this job, which was the only job that I quit, to pursue a business school, which later placed me at my first corporate job at a major oil and gas firm at only 18 years old. When I was laid off from this job at 24 and almost going on my 7th year, I felt like I had lost my identity and I fell into a crisis. But it forced me to ask, who am I without my job? It turns out I was so much more. Looking back, I realized that it may have been the perfect time to pivot by going back to school or going to school while taking care of my toddler, who was already in great hands of his grandmother part of the day. So if you are unhappy in your current career, please don't stay stuck. Life is short. Reevaluate your passions and pursue what excites you. Make these changes now. The sooner you realize, your attitude will change. And if you learn to take your career and jobs as stepping stones into your life for something better, you take what's most valuable from each as it's a preparation for your ideal form of work. The sooner you pivot and do something on your time after you've been let go or laid off, the sooner you will realize what your passions are, and you can prepare yourself for a better opportunity in a totally different career field. Point number 6, and this is already in your corporate world. Your coworkers are not your friends. It took me 10, 15 years to realize this. And we hear this all the time, yet we often ignore it. Always be professional, kind, and courteous, but keep your inner circle small. The workplace is not the place to build deep relationships or friendships. It is where you build your career. Office politics and promotions can turn these so-called friendships into silent rivalries. Don't be surprised that competition and jealousy exists and may be the reason why you were laid off. With this, I'm not saying don't be friendly. Always be kind and courteous and respectful, but learn to set some boundaries so that you don't overshare any personal information that may later hinder or be used against you. 7, and this is leading from number 6. Never dim your light to make others comfortable. Now, while this may not apply strictly into the workplace, it can apply to you anywhere in life. Your confidence, personality, and intelligence may trigger others. That is a known fact. But don't shrink yourself to make insecure people comfortable. Their insecurities are not your burden to carry. Especially if you are that bubbly person, you're kind, smart, confident, you may unintentionally trigger others who feel insecure. Remember that this is their problem and not yours. The moment you shrink yourself to fit in, that is the moment that you start risking losing your essence. So stay true to who you are and let them deal with their own discomfort. 7, and this is leading from number 6. Never dim your light to make others comfortable. Now, while this may not apply strictly into the workplace, it can apply to you anywhere in life. Your confidence, personality, and intelligence may trigger others. That is a known fact. But don't shrink yourself to make insecure people comfortable. Their insecurities are not your burden to carry. Especially if you are that bubbly person, you're kind, smart, confident, you may unintentionally trigger others who feel insecure. Remember that this is their problem and not yours. The moment you shrink yourself to fit in, that is the moment that you start risking losing your essence. So stay true to who you are and let them deal with their own discomfort. Number 8, we know this already. First impressions tell you everything. Just like you have a couple of seconds to give your very best first impression, if someone gives you an off feeling when you first meet them, you need to trust those instincts. People reveal who they are from the start. Remember that. People reveal who they are from the start. Those who seem cold initially but suddenly become friendly later are simply studying you. Stay neutral, professional, and observant. Remember, people show you who they are immediately, so always trust your gut in this. My gut has never failed me in deciphering who is who. I normally make that decision right away. Sometimes people give themselves away, and I am very good at detecting when people are studying you as well. So all in all, stay true to who you are. Know that your essence may trigger so many people out there, but that does not mean that there is anything wrong with you. That just means that there's a lot of going on out there, and they choose not to address those inner issues and insecurities within themselves. So you will just be a walking mirror to a lot of people, and you just cannot change that mirror image. You know, you are who you are, and their reflection is showing off of that mirror, and you can't change that yourself. That is up to them to change themselves. That goes to point number 9, is you cannot change people. Stop seeing potential in people who aren't working to fulfill it. Whether it's a partner, a friend, or a colleague, if they don't want to grow, you can't force them. Loving someone's potential is exhausting, and it often leads to disappointment. So don't waste time romanticizing someone's potential because you are not their therapist. I will be talking more about this one when I talk about boundaries. So keep an eye and a listen for that one. Number 10, your friendships. Friendships evolve with age. In your teens and 20s, we all had lots of friends in middle school, high school, and around the neighborhood. In our 50s, we only keep the real ones. And usually in our 50s, we have fewer than 5 or fewer than 2 or 3 close friends. As we get older and our family grows, you'll soon realize that time is of the essence, and you rather spend time with family as it is most important than spending time with your friends. That's not to say that you no longer like your friends, and I will be talking about the friend issue on a separate video. Comment if you would like for me to talk about the friends in a separate video. Number 11, oh my God, this strictly hit home when I was in my 20s. It was crazy. Diets and body image. Looking back, diets and body image was a crazy thing. Focus on your health, not the numbers. In my younger years, at being only 140 to 150 pounds at 5'7", we were considered overweight or obese. A lot has changed along the years. What a waste. What a waste of mental and emotional energy. It had become an obsession to stay slim. Now I know confidence is ageless. Now, would I trade my wisdom and self-assurance for my 20-year-old body? Absolutely not. Number 12. This has also been very important. I really want to discuss this because I experienced this my entire life, especially as a child. Enjoy the journey, not the destination. As kids, we rush through life, always waiting for the next milestone. As adults, we do the same. We're waiting for weekends, we're waiting for promotions, waiting for vacations. But the real magic is living in the now, living in the presence. Life isn't a race, it's a road trip. So savor every stop along the way. Life isn't about rushing to the next best thing. So stop fast forwarding your life and be present. Be present today, because the best time to live is now. Delaying gratification is optimal when you're younger and you're preparing for a better future. But as one gets older, delaying gratification for a later life should be revised on a case-by-case basis, especially if you're 50s and beyond, because we don't know how much longer we have in life. If you did save in your youth for a rainy day, now's the time to enjoy some of the things you save for in your lifetime. Now, when I was a child, I don't know what it was, but we grew up with this hurry up and get it done, hurry up and get it done. So we never enjoyed anything. We used to go travel, do road trips to Mexico and back. And I don't know if it was because we used to do them too often, but we absolutely hated the road trips. And I remember we never enjoyed the scenery. We always counted the rail cars, the trees, the cattle. We were just counting down, looking at the next city sign, saying how much longer we had to get here. And it was so emotionally draining to do this. And I carried on this rush lifestyle into my young adulthood and as a young mother. And looking back, those are one of the biggest regrets that I now carried. And now I go back and can only get nostalgic when I look at my children's childhood pictures. I wish I would have enjoyed and savored every moment, because even though I was physically there for them, we were constantly rushing. When I became pregnant, it was like, oh my God, I can't wait to have the baby. And when then the baby was here, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait for the baby to sleep all night so that I can sleep, or I can't wait for the baby to start crawling, or I can't wait for the baby to wean a formula, or I can't wait for the baby to get off of diapers, or I can't wait for the baby to start walking, or I can't wait for him to go to school, etc., etc., etc. We wasted all these beautiful moments pushing their lives forward. So if this helps you, please take it from my experience. Enjoy your small children as much as you can, because they grow so fast like weeds. My children are now adults and I miss their childhood tremendously. Enjoy a little bit of slow living with your children and enjoy every precious moment with them. Life lesson 13, money, mistakes, and lessons learned. Take it to heart and take note of it. Is learning to save early. That prevented so many financial headaches. It saved me in my 50s. I had little or no idea that my life was going to change tremendously in my 40s and in my 50s with regards to employment. Never thought of the future that I was going to be involuntarily retired. Hence having to start my small business. Never thought it would take this long. Never thought that ageism was real. So learning to have saved at a very young age really, really saved me. Financial independence is power at any age, but if you can do it, the sooner you can do it, the better off you'll be. And if you can invest, especially in real estate. Financial independence is powerful at any age, and real estate investing is stability. Buying a home taught me lessons that renting never could. If mortgage is cheaper than rent, buy. The economy changes, but smart choices last. The financial world isn't the same anymore, but the strategic investments will still matter. I made very smart moves when I was still employed because I had no idea that I was going to be unemployed for long periods of time. That if I had not made those moves, I wouldn't be in the house that I am in today. Point 14. This is the most important one and the most fun one I have experienced thus far. And again, I really want to expand on this one. So I may create a video on this, but find your passion and reinvent yourself. I started reinventing myself in my 50s, and I am still in the reinvention process because it's never ending. Many of us fall into jobs that we never planned for. If you feel unfulfilled, revisit your childhood dreams. Before your parents or the world convinced us that these dreams weren't even possible, your younger self had no limiting beliefs. What made you happy then may hold the master key to your next chapter. So go back to these childhood dreams. If you feel lost, remember what made you the happiest as a child. That's where your true passions live. As a small child, I found myself always selling something. And I wasn't afraid to go door to door to make a short presentation and hence a sale. And now I go like, what is holding me back? If I've been selling since I was a small child, well, what's holding me back are greater limiting beliefs responsible or caused by this new economic system that we are going through right now. But back then was no different. We were so poor back then, but we had no idea that we were poor. And we were out there doing our thing and selling and making money and turning $1 into 10, selling candy and this and that and the other. And I do want to come back and talk about all the things that I sold since I was a child until I was like in my 20s. I sold a variety of things from candies to even authentic Chanel products, which that needs to be a video on its own because that comes with a very special story. But what I'm trying to say is, It is your limiting beliefs that holds you back. So anytime you are confused about or you need clarity about what you want to do in your life, a lot of us in our 50s have lost our jobs and are having to start over and have no clue what they want to do because they've been in corporate too long. I dare you to go back, daydream, and go back into your childhood years and remember what you used to love. Start writing down all those passions and pick from that a few that really stood out and start exploring those all over again. And this is how I actually realized that one of my biggest passions is beauty and skincare specifically. Now, it did look like an obvious thing, but I was so unclear that I couldn't even see something that was in front of me. So revisiting your childhood will help you seek clarity in an effort to reinvent yourself. Now you're probably wondering, what could you possibly have learned in childhood to determine what your lives or your passions are about? Well, for one, it goes back to the nature nurture. For me, one of my passions was fashion and fashion design, because we were so poor or very, humble. We could not afford, buying regular clothes. So that prompted me to learn how to sketch and design my own clothes. And my grandmother was also a seamstress, a little couture designer, and she would make us little dresses and outfits when we were smaller. So watching her create fashion gave me that desire to learn how to sketch and design. So that was one of my passions. Obviously, I did not pursue it. I did take some sewing courses in middle school, but I didn't really particularly like the actual making of the outfits. I enjoyed the designing or the sketching of the actual outfit. And I did do sketch a lot of outfits in which my mother turned around and made them for me. And as I got older, I would keep designing them and I would get them tailor-made just for me. So that was one of my passions. The other passion is I felt so happy around color. So one time a brochure ended up in my hands about interior design. I never pursued it, but it was always a hobby of mine. For some time, I need to revisit that because I no longer have my house interiorly decorated like before, but I absolutely enjoy that. It became a hobby. I could have pursued it as a career or a passion, but I didn't. So that was something else. And number 3, beauty and skincare. That is another story. I felt under the necessity to fix a problem that I encountered with a lot of acne, which prompted me to create my own serum when I was 14 years old. So I actually went to the little apothecary, little clinic in Mexico, and I asked for 3 specific vitamins, which wouldn't you know, that was back, 40 years ago. And now that is what I carry in all of my serums, is vitamin A, C, and E. So I did that to help me with a severe infection of acne. And later I started selling skincare for different brands. And I was very inspired by Mary Kay, who I personally met when I was 17. So yes, there are a lot of things that you could go back and revisit, and just know that back then we had almost any limiting beliefs. Thank you for watching part 1. This had to be broken into 2 parts, so I really would love to see you on my part 2. And again, if anything resonated with you or if anything helped you, please feel free to comment below. I would love to connect with you, and I would love for you to follow me in my journey. So if you would please hit the like button and subscribe, I surely would appreciate it, and it will really entice me to create more videos just for you. So stay tuned for part 2 on a separate video.